All right, Calcknowledge, how's it going?
I'm doing good. What's going on? Long time fan. Been tuned into your channel for a minute now.
Man, thank you, man. That's what's up, man. I see you grinding. We're over here grinding.
Yes, sir.
You have a pretty unique name, Calcknowledge.
Yes, sir.
How'd you come up with that?
So originally I used to go by Calc in college. Around my sophomore year, I used to go by Calc, which is short for calculator, means you could count on me. And I used to tell all the coaches, teammates, no matter what the situation is in the game, you could count on me. So that's why I came up with the calculator name. And during training camp, Coach Beamer used to come and talk at the podium in front of all of us after practice and after we showered and ate, and go over practice and tell us what we need to work on, things like that. So some people that's not so social, they'll hurry up and shower, hurry up and eat, and just go sit in the team meeting room and wait. So I will go down and talk to those people, being the social guy I am, trying to interact with everybody. And I used to go to the podium and I started giving street codes. So I would give street code number 1, 2, 3, 4, as a joke though, as a joke. And one day, mid-camp, I was in dinner fixing my plate, and one of my teammates came up to me, the long snapper, Eddie D'Antuano, shout out Big Ed. He said, "You got that Calcknowledge for us today?" And I was like, you know what? That's a perfect addition to the Calc name. So that's when I started going by Calcknowledge. So now you could count on me to provide knowledge for the world. And I took them street codes, took it to 15-second clips on Instagram, making videos and motivational / humor videos, and went viral from there. Got over 1 million views on accumulated from all the videos, and that's when my brand really took off while in college, way before rapping.
You mentioned you're out of D.C.?
Yes, sir. Born and raised, Washington, D.C.
Okay. What was it like for you growing up there? Can you paint that picture for me?
For me, growing up in the neighborhood, playing sports, seeing what's going on but not really understanding it. When you're young, well, for me, when I was young, I see things going on, the drug dealing, the violence, but I'm not really understanding it until I got older. So just, typical neighborhood things.
Okay, and you came from a good family, helped you kind of stay in that direction, and kind of, helped you, get into sports and stay off the streets and everything?
I definitely, had both parents in my house leading me in the right direction. Although my family was in the opposite direction, they definitely steered, the children to take different paths.
Okay. Was there any situations or anything that happened in the streets that made you not want to be in the streets?
When I was about 13, one of my close friends got killed. And from then on, I knew that the street life wasn't what I wanted to be a part of. Although the deaths kept adding up, I just knew I wanted to be the one to make a difference and change the narrative of, okay, if you're in the hood, you only can sell drugs and, partake in violence. So after that death from then on I knew, and that was at an early age, like I said, I was 13. So from then on I knew that I had to do something different.
That's young.
Yeah.
So was this a close friend of yours?
Yeah, definitely. In 2007, I lost a close friend. And, I didn't even know that was just the first of many. I didn't even know that was the first of many. But it was just crazy, going from being with somebody every day to never being able to see him again.
Was he involved in the streets at the time?
Actually, no. He was an athlete. He was, quote unquote, the hood savior. Like, we just all knew he was going to the NBA. So to take that heartbreak, everything just went downhill from there.
As you're growing up and you're going through all this stuff, man, it must have been tempting to jump into the streets from time to time.
I'm not going to say it wasn't tempting, but I was always mentally strong, so I never wanted to be a follower. I wanted to do my own thing. The only times I would say I may have wanted to partake is when my friends are getting killed. It's like, dang, what can I do to help solve this problem that's going on, this constant problem? But, like I said, I was mentally strong, so I was like, all right, I need to make it out. I need to figure out a way to bring everybody out the neighborhood, show them it's a different way. You don't have to take, the typical street route just because you're born in the hood.
Were you playing basketball at the time?
I played basketball and football in middle school, but as I got to high school, football became, the dominant sport in which I eventually went to college for.
Okay. What were you like in high school?
I was always a smart kid, class clown, but, straight A student, AB student, popular, was always popular. I went to my neighborhood high school, but then eventually transferred over to the other side of town for football because that was a school that, if you went there and you were talented, you were going Division I. So my high school was good. I miss high school. High school was good. It was lit.
Okay. And you graduate high school, and what do you do from there?
So once I graduated high school, I went to Virginia Tech. Initially, I was committed to University of Virginia for about a year, and then I ended up switching commitments late. Went to Virginia Tech, and that's why I began my college career playing football. And I think I had one of the better college experiences, not just from the football aspect, but overall.
Okay, so you played football. Did you get a scholarship?
Yeah, I had a sports scholarship. I had a couple coming out of high school, and I narrowed it down to Virginia Tech and North Carolina. After I decommitted from UVA, then I ended up choosing Virginia Tech.
What position did you play?
I played tight end and DN in high school, but when I got recruited to go to Virginia Tech for tight end.
Now you're in college, you're playing football and everything, and what else college like for you?
So when I first got there, it was definitely different, being that I came from a high school, middle school, elementary with just black people. So I'm in a different environment. They're talking different, acting different. I had to change my approach to things for the better, though. So that's when I eventually stopped cursing, and that's just one major thing. But I began to understand that life is bigger than my neighborhood. And that's when I began to really appreciate, one, me getting a scholarship, but also where I was, I knew I had to take advantage of it. And that can help me better, people back home.
Well, what'd you major in?
I majored in sociology and human development, so I got 2 degrees. I redshirted my freshman year, which means I sit out. You do everything with the team, but you just don't play on Saturdays. So I was there for 5 years, so I was able to get 2 degrees while I was there.
Okay, so you didn't play the first year, you were just practicing with them and everything?
Correct. So you do everything but literally dress up on Saturdays.
Did you play all 5 years of college?
So yeah, I played all 5 years I was there. So I stayed throughout my entire time there, never transferred or anything like that. And by freshman year, started to play a little bit. Sophomore year, played a lot. And that's actually when the Calcknowledge name came about. And yeah, junior year, senior year, finished strong.
Now, being in high school for 5 years, you're taking a lot of classes, doing a lot of stuff. You had a pretty popular school for college football?
Definitely. My freshman year, we were number 5 in the country. I mean, Virginia Tech's a major school, so yes, we're a popular school, yes, for sure.
Man, I bet the competition was a lot.
Yeah, definitely coming from, granted, my high school was a powerhouse, but it's different from, you're the man in your school. You go to school now, it's 80 of the men. So it's definitely, tough when you first get there, but, only the strong survive.
All right, and you didn't get to play your freshman year. That must have been rough.
It definitely was, because in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm coming, and I'm going to be here 3 years. I'm going to play as a freshman, be here 3 years. I'm going to the NFL. Until you get that rude awakening. But I didn't have nobody to tell me otherwise. In my head, I'm just like, all right, I'm about to go do these quick 3 years, and I'm going to the NFL. So it's definitely, a wake-up call.
Okay, now you finally get your chance to start on your second year.
I didn't start, but I played. I started
to play.
Yeah.
Okay, and man, that must have felt good finally after all that time.
Definitely, that's a year, almost a year and a half, of not playing, just watching everyone else who is suiting up on Saturdays. We're practicing together, but then on game day, I'm watching them. So it was definitely, very exciting. It was a Monday night game versus Georgia Tech, and our stadium is one of the loudest in the country. So just coming out the tunnel and hearing 70,000 yelling, like, I'll never forget that first game, that first kickoff.
Okay, and what's going on in college? How's everything going?
College is good. I'm definitely taking advantage of my environment and my resources. So the average athlete, they just stay around the teammates and want to do everything with the team. I'm venturing out to other groups and other departments, just trying to network, to grow my network, which is, very important as you grow and age and get into the real world. So I understood that early enough to take advantage of it.
Okay, and at what point do you start playing more football, like starting and everything, or?
I never was the starter, but my sophomore year I played a lot. So I'm playing not as much as the starter, but almost as much as the starter, as we ran a lot of 2 tight end packages. So I definitely played a lot. And we had a coaching change. Coaches got fired. We had a coaching change. And that kind of steered everything because they came in with a different approach, a different style of offense, which wasn't really, my style of tight end wasn't really needed in that offense. So we went from a pro style to a spread.
Damn. The change of coaches come in, and now your playing time gets cut. What year was this?
Sophomore year.
Sophomore year, okay. And what happens after that, the next year and the next year after that?
So initially, I'm thinking transfer. I'm calling my mom, calling my dad, brothers, like, look, I got to go somewhere, whether I got to go to JUCO and work my way back up or just transfer to, other places I had scholarship offers to. But then, back then, now you could just transfer and play right away. But back then, you had to sit out a year. So in my head, I'm like, all right, I already sat out a redshirt year. I'm not about to go sit out another year. And so I eventually just stuck it out. And that's when I also began to think like, all right, I'm really understanding football not forever because it can be taken from anybody any day. So that's when I started to figure out different things that I wanted to do and that I could see myself doing after football is completely done. So I still played though, I finished there. My last year I switched positions to tackle, which I just moved in one position and still didn't go high playing, but it works for the better. It works for the better long term.
Are you partying in college a lot?
Oh yeah, I'm out every week. I'm definitely out every week. But as I got to junior year, senior year, I'm still going out, but it's not as exciting to me anymore. It's not like I gotta go out. It's just I'm bored. Okay, let me go out because Virginia Tech's in the mountains, so it's nothing else to really do, but to go out with your friends or play video games. Other than that, nothing.
What would be like one of your best experiences at college, besides football, outside of football?
I would say, and this goes into my whole brand, but one day I used to eat out a lot in college. So one day I was in line at Chipotle and a dude behind me, he just tapped me. I forgot what he asked me. The person behind the counter said something to me and the person behind me asked me, what did they say? So I don't know why, but I bought his meal. I said, all you gotta do is take a selfie with me. So I took a selfie with him and I posted on Twitter and Instagram and the hashtag was catch me if you can. I said, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to, if you see me out and you approach me, I'll buy your meal. Hashtag catch me if you can. So that was the first picture and you just gotta take a selfie. So for weeks, actually like 9 or 10 days straight, people catching me out, I'm buying people's meals, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Chipotle. 2 people even called me at Walmart like 1 a.m. and I bought their stuff at Walmart. And one day, I'll never forget, I came into my locker from a Tuesday practice. You gotta hop right on the phone before you do anything else. My phone's, I never had seen this many notifications on my phone, like hundreds of notifications on my phone. And I'm scrolling up trying to see the basis of the notifications. The Today Show had written up an interview on it. ESPN did an article on it, so I was just going crazy. And that was one of my best memories of, being in college. And then a couple games after that, they showed it on the Megatron in the arena, so the whole 70,000 saw it, and so that was major.
What do you think was like the most exciting moment about playing football there?
It's exciting about playing football. I would say we played Marshall, pouring down raining. We played pouring down raining. And we went to, I want to say 4 overtimes. And just pulling that victory out, that probably was the most exciting, just because we had to fight for 4 overtimes. That's a long game. In Division I, the commercials, the timeouts, TV timeouts, it's a long game. So think about going 4 overtimes. So that was probably the most exciting.
How far did you guys make it? Did you guys play bowl games and all that?
Yeah, so we went to a bowl game every year. Every year I was there. My freshman year, we went to the Sugar Bowl and played Michigan and lost by, I don't want to misquote the points, maybe 2 or 1 point or something like that. One of the receivers, he dove in the end zone, and it was real controversial. They said he caught it, then he didn't catch it. So we ended up losing to Michigan by 1 or 2 or something like that. So yeah, we were good every year. We went to a bowl game every year, in which you just have to be 500, at least 500.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you have any regular jobs after high school or anything?
Right after college, I decided to stay in the area of the school to figure out what I wanted to do. I know I wasn't just going to go home. I didn't want to just go home. I wanted to figure it out on my own. So I became a substitute teacher out there, and that was my first, job post-college.
Now as you're going to college and you're away and everything, there's probably still some stuff going down at home.
Correct.
Friends you might have known are probably getting in trouble. Mm-hmm. People you might have grew up with are getting in trouble. What's all that like for you at that time?
So throughout college, definitely received numerous calls, or even just seeing it on my timeline, Instagram, Twitter feed. It was just crazy. It got real. So, like I told you, in 2007, I lost my first friend. By the time I leave college, it's like 25, 30 friends dead. So it definitely, took a toll. But I never really even got to grieve for so many of it. It happened so fast that I still owe tears. If that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it was definitely hard. And it just, I just put it on my back. I'm like, all right, I still got to make a way. I still got to find a way.
Yeah, man. That must have been rough.
Definitely.
Still having to deal with that and go through all that and everything. What do you think was like the hardest thing about college?
The hardest thing about college was initially balancing school with football, especially when I'm kind of like, I don't even care really. I'm going to the NFL. That's it. So I would say initially that, but after that, it was realizing that everybody's not going to the NFL. Everybody's not going to have the $100 million contract, the 10 to 15 year career. But when people come and talk to you, players like Michael Vick and D'Angelo Hall will come back and talk to us, and they'll say, only about 5 of y'all went to the NFL. You don't want to hear that. In your head, you're like, you want to be one of those 5, one of those 3. So those were the 2 hardest things I had to adjust with in college. But luckily, I realized the football thing early, and, like I said, took advantage of where I was.
What was it like when Michael Vick would come back and talk to you guys?
It was cool. He was a cool dude. Like, he'll come, to practices, speak with us at practice. But if he just see you walking on practice, he may shake your hand, talk to you and things like that. So he was always a cool dude with me. He cool with me.
Was this like before his dog controversy, or was it after?
Oh yeah, this was way after. That happened in like 2000. I don't even remember. But it was after he got out of jail, after he went to the Eagles, and after he retired from playing football. So it was well after that.
Okay. And who else would come back and visit you guys? Was there anybody else?
Bruce Smith, one of the best defensive players ever to play football. Tyrod Taylor, Cam Chancellor. Almost every big name you could think of that went to Virginia Tech will come back and, come to games, stand on the sideline, come to practices, talk to us. Some of them are mentors to players and things like that. So definitely family oriented.
Was there anything specific that they'd always talk to you guys about? Would they ever help you during practices or anything?
Yeah, they'll definitely give you, insight on, okay, you may want to, for example, a tight end, his name Andre Smith, he'll come back and if he see me do something wrong at practice, when I come off, he'll say, okay, hey, man, you might want to take this step or get your hands closer inside or things like that. So yeah, they'll definitely come back and, help you out from a been there, done that type of standpoint.
So believing you're gonna go to the NFL, man, and then not actually going, what are some reasons that you think that it might not have worked out for you?
Definitely the coaching change. I feel as though that definitely altered my path. But, I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. But definitely that. But again, when I switched positions, it still put me in a better position because after my senior year, after senior day and things like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with football, not playing it, not doing it. I could care less about it. One of the coaches came to me, he was like, just do pro day, which is when all the teams come and watch the seniors work out. And he's like, just do it. You never know. So I did it and ended up getting looked at by a CFL team, which is in Canada, so Canadian Football League. And I went to, they invited me to a workout. It's like 130 players there. And from that workout, they only signed one player, and that was me. So, but at this point, my love for the game is not there. So I'm just, still doing it. And I end up going to the CFL, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and actually on my flight there, it was a player that I knew from the camp. I never knew him before the camp, but I met him at the camp. And we got off the plane, he was like, yeah, what's up? The coach told me that they only signed one player. And in my head, I'm like, all right, how you here then? And he's like, and they said it was you, but I told him, look, I'll pay for my own flight, just give me an opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up, paying for his own expense to get there. And as I'm there a couple days, going through camp. And at the end of camp in my room, I'm just thinking like, this ain't what I want no more. So long story short, that's what I came to the conclusion of. And, I reached out to the head coach and I'm like, thank you for the opportunity, but, my love just not in it no more. And I don't want to do it. I said it professionally, but that's basically what I said. And, I initially signed a 3-year contract, so he let me out of the contract, and, I moved on from there. And people today, people think thought I got cut. Because that's what usually happens, you just get cut but no, that's what really happened.
How many people did you go to school with that made it to the NFL?
Between 20 and 30, probably.
Oh, that many?
Yeah, no, it was a good amount. Now, lasted as in maybe a 5 to 10 year career, probably 7, 8. But a lot, were there, either whether for a season or for a mini camp, maybe 2 seasons.
Okay, so quite a bit of guys just made it for a couple years.
Correct.
And then weren't able to. Okay, I see. Is there who's the biggest name that you played with?
As far as draft pick, probably Kyle Fuller. He plays cornerback for the Broncos right now. He went first round. I think he went like 13th overall. So he's the highest draft pick that I've played with. But I played with numerous draft picks, but he's the highest.
But that must have been motivating.
It definitely was, because he was older than me too. So seeing him, I'm like, oh yeah, he just signed X amount of millions. I'm up next. I need that check. Oh no, yeah, he was the highest. But I also played with a first round running back, David Wilson. He went like maybe 21st, 22nd or something like that. So yeah, a couple big dogs.
Okay. At what point did you start rapping?
I started rapping in 2017, and I started rapping after I started teaching. Not the substitute, but when I became an actual teacher is when I started to make music, because I'm just seeing how the kids are. They're really not living by lyrics, but they're heavily influenced by music. So I'm like, okay, I already do the mentoring hundreds of kids from, the Calcknowledge brand. So I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and make music. And I've been a battle rap fan all my life, so I always like to play with words. So I started making music in 2017, and initially, nobody was listening to it. Long story short, nobody was listening to it. It was hard to, especially to sway my friends, because I'm rapping about, you know, positive things. That's uplift the people, and they're terrorizing the people. So nobody was listening to it. For maybe 10 listeners.
That's what's up, man. For sure. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nah, that's it.
All right.
I appreciate you.